Thank you very much. Please, can we get seated? The session has started. The main event has started.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our brothers and sisters, please sit down. Our guest is around. Kindly sit down. Kindly sit down, please. Let us commence this program. Let us honor our guest. Let us honor those people that came from far. Please, kindly sit down. Let's talk. Those who are with people selling and the people of Jais Bank opening account, please come to the table and sit down. Please. Please, there should not be any further action behind the main hall. Please, those brothers that are far out there, we are begging. Kindly join us, please. Those who are sitting down discussing there, please join us. You are part of us. We are begging, please suspend all discussions. All meetings, sub-meetings will be suspended. Please, kindly join us. Our brothers who are far away, please join us here. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Please join us. Kindly join us. Let us honor our guests. Those are brothers. Please, our brothers going out, kindly use your tag. There are several events here and some strangers are coming in. So security personnel are checking the tag. Please make use of your tag. Please come and sit down, please. Those who are far away, please sit down, please. Come and sit down, please.
Thank you very much. By the order of the program and the abridgment, we have our guests here present. First is the chairman of today's event, which is His Excellency, the former governor of Niger State, His Excellency Mohammed Umar Bago, ably represented by no other person other than Ajia Mariam Lemu. Thank you very much. Atekbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Thank you very much for your presence. The host of today is the Chief Judge of Oyo State, Honorable Justice I.S. YERIMA. Farmer governor, farmer. He says he's a farmer. F-A-R-N-E-R. That's his official designation now.
He did not say former.
I said farmer governor. He has made it official. You know, like servant leader. He says he's a farmer governor. Farmer governor of Niger State, His Excellency Mohammed Umar Bago, represented by Ajia Mariam Lemu. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We are grateful. The host of today is the Chief Judge of Oyo State, my Lord Honorable Justice I.S. YERIMA, ably represented by my Lord Honorable Justice G.A. Sumonu. Thank you very much, sir. Atekbir.
Allahu Akbar.
We have here present as well our father, our leader, the President of the Customary Court of Appeal, Oyo State, my Lord Honorable Justice T.M. Abdul-Ganiyu. My Lord, thank you very much for your presence. The guest lecturer is here present. He is a man of many parts. By the time we get to the real business, he will be properly introduced. But permit me to welcome our guest speaker, Professor Siyan Oyeweso. I don't know how to start and where to start to recognize it, but he's here. Thank you very much. Atekbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Our leader, I know he's going to join us, Alhaji Lasu Sanusi. He's going to join us to take his seat. I am told, my Lord Honorable Justice Zubair of the Court of Appeal, Ibadan Division, the NBA President, Mr. Yakubu Chonoko Mekiao, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, is here present and ably represented by the General Secretary, Mr. Abdulwahid Adeshina Adebite. So, Mr. Abdulwahid Adeshina Adebite, please come and take your seat forward. Thank you very much. That's the representative of the NBA President, Yakubu Chonoko Mekiao, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Thank you. Thank you very much. Atakbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Jazakumullah for your presence. We have by the time he takes a seat, the next person has taken a seat. That's the national president of MULAN, Otelo Kazim Olajide Olani, or PhD, national president of the Muslim Lawyers Association of Nigeria, MULAN. Thank you very much. Well, go ahead. No. Yeah, we have here as well. My Lord, the Qadi from the Sharia Court of Appeal, Kano State, Qadi Mustafa Laloki. Atakbir.
Allahu Akbar.
We have as well, my Lord, my Lord Qadi from the Sharia Court of Appeal, Nasarawa State, Qadi Abubakar Tijani Ahmad. Atakbir.
Allahu
Thank you very
Akbar.
much for your presence.
Yeah, without much time wasting, we would like to go straight to the opening address by the chairman, His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Niger State, ably represented by Ajia Miriam Lemu. Would you like to step forward?
Thank you very much. Atakbir.
Allahu Akbar.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
It's a pleasure and an honor to be asked to represent His Excellency, the former Umar Mohammed Bago, the governor of Niger State. He was going to be here today. It was planned. But Allah is the best of planners. And in the last minute, he couldn't make it. So last minute that they couldn't even send me his speech for this morning. So I was asked to represent him, but I didn't come alone. I came with fellow Nigerites and Babo Edo, Neki, here are my people. Yes, Nigerites in the room. MULAN representatives from Niger State are here with me, and we are representing His Excellency, the former Governor, Umar Mohammed Bago. I stand on existing protocols, and truly it is a pleasure to see that this event is turning out to be a very rich event, a very organic event, a very relevant event. The topics that are being covered are giving a holistic approach to our lives, not just legal terminologies, but we are hearing things like family being covered, halal income, making sure that Allah puts His stamp of approval in any income that comes our way, and in addition, making sure that everything we do is ethical. So alhamdulillah, it is a pleasure, and since we want to make sure we stick to the time, I will not stay here any longer other than to deliver a message from His Excellency, and that is a gift to MULAN of 10 million naira. Jazakumullahu khairan. Takbir!
Atakbir! Atakbir!
Allah
Atakbir!
Allah
Jazakumullah khairan. We sincerely thank Farmer Muhammad Umar Bago, the governor of Niger State, for that beautiful gift.
Has just come in. Okay. Yes. The representative of governor for Osun has just come in. His name? Yeah,
Thank you very much, His Excellency. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to be with you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to be with you and make your time in the government house of Niger State one that is positively memorable to Nigerites and the Muslim Ummah. Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khairan.
Amen. All right. In the old map of Nigeria, when we had 19 states, there were about 5 very big states that we had. Oyo was one of them. Kano was one of them. Sokoto was one of them. Borno was one. Gongola was one. Little by little, Gongola got split into 2. Sokoto got split into 3. Oyo got split into 2. Niger was also one of them. It was the only state as a copper that I traveled in for 8 hours from one end, to the other. So when we got that powerful delivery from the chairperson, I had no doubt in my mind that she was from the power state of the country. Having said that, Oyo got split into two. We now have Oyo and Osun State.
Osun State.
And someone breezed in while the chairman's speech was being delivered. And that is the representative of His Excellency, the governor of Osun State, Senator Ademola Nuruddin Adeleke, ably represented by
the Special Assistant to the Governor on Legal Matters, Barrister Nuruddin Abdul Karim. Atakbir.
Allahu Akbar.
That's the representative of the coast of this annual General Conference. Thank you very much for your presence, sir.
Your Excellency, I was expecting something similar to August's style. All right, thank you very much.
So, without wasting much time, since His Excellency is ably represented here, I would straight away invite His Excellency, the representative of the Osun State Governor, Barrister Nuruddin Abdul Karim, Special Assistant to the Governor on Legal Matters, to deliver the Governor's message to us. Thank you very much. Atakbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
His Excellency, the Governor of Oyo State, Engineer Makinde, the Chairman of the occasion, my noble lords, here present, political functionaries, my brothers and sisters in Islam. I once again say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. His Excellency, the Governor of Osun State, Senator Nuruddin Ademola Adeleke, welcomes Muslim lawyers across the country to the southwest, particularly to Ibadan, Oyo State. His Excellency extends its goodwill to legal luminaries of Muslim faiths, of Islamic faith, who are here today for the 24th National Conference of Muslim Lawyers Association of Nigeria. The Executive Governor of Osun State, I would like to clear one doubt. I would like to use the opportunity to clear one doubt. Immediately I was ushered in, I could hear some people murmuring, expecting me to have put on a particular style of cap that my principal, His Excellency, always puts on. But I would like to say that this is not a political gathering. If it were to be a political gathering, probably I will not even be the only one wearing the cap. I will have about 8 people wearing the same cap with me, representing His Excellency. So I want to clear that the style is still maintained, but for the nature of this kind of program, I've decided to go in the way of the typical Yoruba man, which the cap I wear represents. I would also like to make this remark. This is a gathering of intellectuals, His Excellency appreciates the fact that some of us, in the line of our job, career, in our profession, we still strive to propagate our faith through our professions, which is legal profession. His Excellency wishes to use this opportunity to call on Muslim lawyers, Muslim scholars, who are by profession legal luminaries, to pray fervently for the development, progress, and better security of lives and property in our country. His Excellency appreciates us that as we strive for development in our country, MULAN as an association is trying to bring in their faith as we practice our profession as lawyers. His Excellency appreciates the fact that we do not neglect hereafter. And I want to, I would like to mention one thing. There is one hadith. I may not be able to quote the exact narration, but I can remember I was at a gathering in one of the friends in the past where that scholar was narrating the hadith. That the Prophet ﷺ said, some people will, through their professions, through their careers, be doing what will put them in Jannah. They may think they are just doing it for livelihood. They are just doing it to make both ends meet. They are just doing it to have provisions to feed their family. But because of the way of Allah, because of the way they do or they practice their profession in a way that pleases the Almighty, as they carry on their practice, Allah will be writing rewards for them in their account before Him because of the way they practice their professions. Just as we have people that we hand themselves hellfire, may Allah forbid it for us, from the way they practice their professions. They will pray their salats, they will fast during Ramadan, they will give sadaqah, but because of the way they practice their professions, because of the manner they try to earn their livelihood, they will find themselves in hellfire in hereafter. I pray to Almighty Allah to guide us, to assist us, to help us, to be able to continue in practicing as lawyers in manner and ways that will please Allah, to the extent that just because of that practice, Allah will put us in Jannah in the hereafter. Our God, His Excellency, the Governor of Osun State, loves Muslim Association of Nigeria and supports this association. I know, as a matter of fact, that people will ordinarily expect that the love be shown practically. By sending me here to represent him, it's a show of his love for the entirety of Muslim lawyers in Nigeria. His Excellency would have loved to be here personally, but there was an earlier engagement to which His Excellency had committed himself. In this regard, as a token of his support and encouragement for MULAN in its activities and efforts to propagate the Islamic faith in the course of our practice as lawyers. His Excellency will be supporting MULAN with a token. Please, I place emphasis on the word token. Please, I place emphasis on the word token.
You are carried.
So, His Excellency will be supporting Muslim Association of Nigeria with a token sum of 5 million naira.
Atakbir. Atakbir.
I call it a token because His Excellency wants to continue to be identified with MULAN in our future programs and activities. We hope that in our future programs, engagements, and activities, MULAN is going to receive more from His Excellency, Senator Nuruddin Ademola Adeleke, the Executive Governor of Osun State.
Inshallah.
To this end, once again, His Excellency welcomes all participants to Southwest and enjoins us to use this opportunity to pray for Nigeria, for better security, for improved development. Thanks so much. Subhana Rabbi Asfun, wassalamu ala al-mursaleen, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Atakbir. Atakbir. Atakbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Jazakumullah to His Excellency, the Governor of Osun State, Senator Ademola Nuruddin Adeleke. We go straight to the next, which is the main deal for today.
National development, the new dynamics and nuances. That is the theme for this year's conference. Yoruba elders say in their words, Eniba mojo guni pabinire. How do you translate that in English?
Emba moju okpo.
Ogun ni pabinire.
That's the person who knows the path you follow.
So that's a way of saying when you need a plumber, you don't call a mechanic, okay? So MULAN, in its wisdom, has invited someone who understands the terrain very well, a distinguished historian who has been here with us since 9 a.m. I have the singular honor of reading the citation of the theme presenter, Professor Siyan Oyeweso. Can you stand up while I read your citation? Siyan Oyeweso, PhD, is a renowned professor of history. He is the former head of Department of History and International Studies, Lagos State University. Former Dean, Faculty of Arts, Lagos State University, and Pioneer Provost, College of Humanities and Culture, Osun State University, Osogbo. He is the Executive Director of the Center for Black Culture and International Understanding in Osogbo, Osun State. a UNESCO Category 2 institute. Oyeweso is a fellow and life member of the Historical Society of Nigeria, a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Letters, and member of several other prestigious professional associations. He has published in several national and international reputable and high-impact journals. He jointly edited with Professor Shola Akinriyade Perspectives on Higher Education and Good Governance in Nigeria, published in Ibadan in 2019, and Pivotal Issues in Higher Education in Nigeria, published by University of Ibadan Press 2020. He was, until recently, a member of the International Board of Trustees of the University of Birmingham Research Program, knowing each other everyday religious encounters, social identities, and tolerance in southwest Nigeria. The Board of Trustees, headed by the renowned late Professor J.D.Y. Peel, also included such eminent historians as Professor Toyin Falola, FNAL, Professor Karen Barber, FBA, Professor Tom Makasi, and Professor Shola Akinriyade, FNAL. In 2021, Professor Oyeweso also co-edited with Professor Olutayo Adesina a number of other landmark publications. Professor Oyeweso co-authored with Olukoya again a celebration of God's grace when Folorunso Alakija turned 70. On behalf of the National Executive Council of MULAN and the CPC of Ibadan 2024, join me in welcoming the team presenter for this year's national conference, Professor Siyan Oyeweso, PhD, to take us through the main theme of this year's conference, National Development, the New Dynamics and Nuances. Takbir.
In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, the creator of heaven and earth, is to whom all praises and adoration is reserved. From him, we seek forgiveness in all our wrongdoings. We seek refuge from Allah against Satan the accursed. And I prelude this presentation with the beautiful message of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The chairman of this special occasion, His Excellency, the Governor of Niger State, who has styled himself as farmer governor. I wish other governors can emulate that. Agriculture remains the lifeline, the bloodline of the nation. A secured nation is a nation that ensures food security. When we are able to solve the problem of hunger, the rest is history. The chairman conference planning committee, our son and my brother, that's Musbao Adetumbi, senior advocate of Nigeria. Thank you for extending this invitation to me. The president, current president of MULAN, Dr. Kazim Adeniji, due allegiance. The president of MBA, ably represented by one gentleman who prefers to be called Adebite, Adesina. Yes, you are duly recognized. My host, the governor of my home state, Senator Nuruddin Ademola Jackson Adeleke, ably represented by the SA Liga, duly recognized. All protocols, all senior advocates of Nigeria here, all the cadis, imam, harfas, sheikhs, senior advocates of Nigeria, judges of the High Court, of National Industrial Court, Federal Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court. One justice of the Supreme Court is here this afternoon. He is duly recognized. Ajia Lemu, who is the representative of the executive governor, you can see brain, beauty, charm, and elegance. So I see her as a symbol of ideal Muslim woman. I recognize you at personal level. To all our brothers and sisters in Islam, please, due courtesies and recognition extended. What is a historian doing in a gathering of learned people? As a young undergraduate in the late 70s and early 80s, I share fellowship with Madam Yusuf Olaoluali, who are classmates. But classmates as at that time. You know, classmate is only for a brief period. After that, some other people will step up. Though in history, I had a number of friends in some other department, particularly law, and a little bit of law rubbed on me. As an undergraduate, one of the favorite books in law that I enjoyed was The Lord Denning, and the family story, was next in the law, and the closing chapter. And I identify the Lord Denning as one of my role models in life. I think he was an expert in family law. But beyond that, he was also an activist, somebody who chose to differ, to offer constructive and alternative opinions at any point in time. To MULAN, great job that you are doing today, and I pray that you'll be able to sustain this in the future. I just completed a full manuscript on the history of NASFAT, which I submitted only last week, about 398-page book. And it is with special reference to that book that I want to identify 4 people. I know the name of 2. If the other 2 know themselves, they should just identify themselves. Okonkwo S.A.N. if it's around. Chukuma S.A.N. Please identify yourself. Yes, it's your Chukuma that I'm talking about. Please sit down. There are other 2 Igbo senior advocates of Nigeria that are here. It's a day of glory for Islam. Why studying the history of NASFAT in the southeast? We found that 95% and above are Christians and other faiths, and that the southeast is a very difficult soil for Islam to penetrate. So when you now have, beyond Alhaji Abdulaziz Ude, Onyema, those early generation Muslim stalwarts in Igbo land, we are now having Chukuma, senior advocate of Nigeria, the apex in the legal profession. You have Okonkwo, and all of them today, eminent Muslims, devoted Muslims. I want to say congratulations, and that may Islam continue to be hugely beneficial to you. May your aspirations in life be fulfilled. I am a historian. They refer to historians as carpenters in those days. So I am a carpenter who trained as a lawyer. But I am also an ant who learns from the ants' kingdom how to engage in team building. I am not an undertaker. An undertaker is a person who is a mortician who will want the dead to be buried. Today is a day of glory for MULAN. How do I mean? The first lawyer, legal practitioner in Nigeria, he emerged in the 1870s. Sakwara Williams. Throughout the 19th century until early 20th century, Islam did not produce any Muslim lawyer. And the first was Imam Augusto QC of blessed memory from Popua Aguda in Lagos. He was an imam, but he pioneered legal education for Muslims. By 1926, Jibril Martin joined him in the legal profession. Jibril Martin is important to me, not just as a Muslim, because he was the first honorary secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association. And he later emerged as the president of NBA in 1952 until his demise in 1959. I have looked at the profile of senior advocate of Nigeria. The current president is a Muslim. Is Meyaku. Oh, sorry. Ajomaleni. His name reads like that of a Muslim. What I'm saying is a challenge. I've looked at the Muslim profiles. You find that in the list of senior advocates of Nigeria, Muslim faithfuls, very weak. The size, the number is very small. You have Femi Okunu there. You have Yusuf Olalu, Adetumbi here. A number of others who are senior advocates of Nigeria. I do not want to bore us because of the limited time. The first solution that I want to provide before moving to the main lecture is that MULAN has responsibility to raise a fresh generation, a new generation of Muslim lawyers that you are going to poach from JS, SS, adopt one, sponsor that person, mentor the person, so that if you have 1,500 MULAN members today, let us be able that in the next foreseeable 6 years, we should be able to raise X number of Muslims. The law profession is a dynamic profession and it is growing. We have that challenge. Nigeria, national development, new dynamics and nuances. The 14th Annual General Conference of MULAN focused on religion, power, and politics. It was a contentious issue, highly contentious, and you chose this year national development, new dynamics, and nuances. I asked myself, as a student of society, as a student of history, do we have new dynamics? Do we have new nuances in our study of Nigerian history, Nigerian government, and politics? My starting point for understanding of Nigeria may be 1914, maybe 1951, when representative government started. So when you look at the history of Nigeria from 1951 to 2024, Or you look at it from 1960, when the Union Jack was lowered, and there were fun celebrations, drums, expectations of independence. Independence was expected to bring good life, life more abundant. It was to be an harbinger of prosperity, of joy, of abundance. But the expectations of independence were dashed in less than 6 years. From 1960 to January 15, 1965. All expectations of independence were dashed. Let's take a look at Nigeria in 1960 or before 1960. The common denominator that I have seen that we have not been able to build bulwark against and a consensus around it is the issue of corruption. And I ask myself, is corruption a Nigerian? Are all Nigerians corrupt? Do Nigerians smile at corruption? We have several issues: ethnicity, tribalism, security, religious fanaticism. All those issues, to me, they're important. But when we get something very right in this country, if we can strengthen the judiciary, and the judiciary itself can reach a consensus, Nigeria will be the best place on earth. But look at all our leaders in the past. There is nobody except few that can lay claim that I lived a very upright and dedicated life. How do I mean? All the probes in the in the colonial era, none of the leaders could survive the probe into the Railway Corporation, the Foster Sorting Commission of Inquiry Tribunal, the Coca Commission of Inquiry. The legal profession played key roles in all those tribunals, and the records are there today. Glorious age of the legal profession, when they called spade a spade. But because I'm a carpenter, I'm very economical in the way I make my presentation, removing individuals from it. Because the historian is a nation builder. Okwiton ki follow. Historians are nation builders. We know the truth. We say it because my lawyer friends taught me, mind your language, mind your speech, and mind what you write. When I write anything, when I'm angry, the next person that is very close to me, that I respect too much, is the lawyer. I give it to my lawyer. Please read, vet, so that you know that there is no crime or offense leading there. From 1960 onwards, we had a parliamentary system of government that really worked for us. It was cost effective. It was well managed. It had roles, constitutional duties for traditional rulers who remained the closest to the people. We jettisoned a parliamentary system of government. And by the time the military men came over, they replaced the parliamentary system with what they refer to as presidential system. I align myself with the position of the MULAN president in his address that the 1999 constitution is a fraud and that it contains many flaws. We, the people of Nigeria, at any point in time, did not sit, meet, or conduct any referendum. So that was the first forgery in the 1999 constitution. And when you look at the items on the concurrence list and the exclusive list, and look at the immunity clause in that constitution, you find out that the source of all iniquities is that the 1999 constitution, from its inception, sought to protect criminally minded people, gangsters, armed robbers, and bandits. Bandit is the new word. When you claim to be a bandit, you can commit as many crimes as possible. They will label you as bandit. But talk about a criminal. We know the rules and regulations that will be applicable to a criminal at any point in time. The point I'm trying to stress is that when people talk about the problem of Nigeria, yes, Nigeria has so many problems. Chino Achebe said there is nothing wrong with Nigerian weather, Nigerian climate, that the failure of leadership, the problem of Nigeria is squarely the failure of leadership. Yes. Kalme said, this house has fallen. A friend of mine wrote his inaugural lecture and titled it, "Before we set this house on fire, let us learn from the oracle." What is the oracle? Oracle is not in the spiritual sense. Let us learn from history. What we have done in Nigeria, whether at the level of followership or leadership, is that we have failed to learn from history. A Nigerian must be a very hard-working man, given the nature of our environment, given the terrain, the soil. There is nothing you plant in Nigeria that will not germinate. Nigeria has no partnership with hunger. Go back to the area of farm settlement in the southwest. We fed ourselves. Go to the area of cocoa boom, Okitupwa palm plantation, and so on and so forth. We have that capacity to survive as a nation and to ensure that all is well with our people. For me, the way I see Nigeria is that by 1965, Chinua Achebe warned us about the new set of politicians in his book, A Man of the People. And if you read Things Fall Apart or No Longer Artists, which are fictional representations of the Igbo life, what you find that as a Form 3 student, they asked me, Obi Okoko was not corrupt by nature. He's a mere victim of circumstances. Discourse. Form 3. The major actor in No Longer Artist was Obi Okonko. Ike Dairo warned us in his song, Dare, please, can you project that area? Ike Dairo.
Ọlọ́run ẹ jẹ́ ó tó wa. Ẹ má má jẹ́ aṣojú kòkòrò ọmọ ńlá kejì. Bàbá wo sàrẹ̀ Ọlọ́run, àwẹ̀ ó lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́. Iṣẹ́ oríran mi ni mo.
It's a very lengthy thing. What the gentleman was emphasizing, the value of hard work. By 1965, when this song was composed and released, spate of armed robbery, organized crime, kidnapping had started. Director, tí ò ní office. Director, tí ò ní irinṣẹ́. When you see them in Mercedes-Benz, they sit at the back and they pretend to act like acting big men. Now, that was 65. By 1980, Fela Anikulapo Kuti gave us stand warning. The important point I want to bring out that is that authority stealing past armed robber. We had armed robbery around that time. And by 1980, somebody was telling you that what is emerging now is authority stealing. With due protections of the legal-minded people, the central bank governor, which I have not mentioned, and the Kogi State governor that I have not mentioned, look at the quantum of fund and the pauperization of society. People are poor, not because they chose to be poor, but because the enabling environment had not been provided. The collective good had been hijacked, stolen in broad daylight by a few people. I love my country. Enebule was the first person in the early 80s that was attempting to move out of the country. The predecessor of all the japa that you are having today. In Canada, Nigerians are sleeping in cemeteries because of the high cost of accommodation. But Enebule, Andrew wanted to exit from the country, and he carried his briefcase and all the rest of it. And some people persuaded him. He returned to the country. Professor Wole Soyinka, our sage. I love my country, I no go lie.
I love my country, I no go lie. Now inside them I go live and die. I know my country, I no go lie. Now him and me go yap till I die.
You see, many Nigerians want to live and die in Nigeria. If I travel out of this country any point in time, the best time, it's 2 weeks. Because there is nothing for me to pick there. But Wole Soyinka and his co-accomplice at that time left the country when the military authorities were almost getting to them. The producer of this music, well, let me leave that if I remember the name later. Tunji Oyelano and the Benders. They left at that time before they returned to this country. The history of Nigeria is essentially the history of corruption. And I repeat, the history of Nigeria is essentially the history of corruption. And I will establish it. when the military boys struck in 1966, a number of ministers were found culpable. But instead of the state punishing them, they rewarded them. I have documentary evidence that Oba C.D. Akran, of blessed memory, in his living room, 6.6 million pounds was found in the coffin. That one escaped the eyes of the public, except those of us who live the life of ants. But the one that is in public domain, in our record, was done in defense of the judiciary. 547 pounds plus some amount was stolen from Nigeria Ingaso Limited by C.D. Akran and Prince Adeleke Ademiluyi. Justice Kayode Esho, of blessed memory, jailed the two 7 years each. But when you get to Ikeja today, the longest street and the longest avenue in Ikeja is called Oba C.D. Akran Avenue. A man that was jailed by a court of competent jurisdiction is in the record. It's widely reported in Lagos Weekend. And I have copies. And if you Google that, you will get the result. From 1966 onwards, when the military boys came on, instead of investing in the people, investing in Nigeria, a former head of state, serving head of state with 9-year rule, told us that Nigeria's problem is not money, but how to spend it. So a lot of extravaganza, a lot of wasteful spendings took place during that 9-year rule. The military now instituted a tribunal, a military tribunal that investigated the conduct of the 12 governors at that time. Achike Okafor, military rule in Nigeria. Maybe the title. That's the title of the author of the book, green cover book. It's a law textbook. Only 2 military governors at that time were found blameless. Brigadier General Oluwole Rotimi of Western State and Brigadier General Mubolaji Folorunsho Michael Johnson of blessed memory. Only 2 out of 12 at that time. If you have learned from mystery, you should know the value. The church is not immune from corruption. The mosque leadership is not immune from corruption. They quarrel only over religion. But when it comes to incorporation of companies, stealing of public funds, mismanagement of public funds, all the Muslims and Christians in that board of trustees or the board of governors or the board of directors, they are united. Take a look at the Scania probe, the cement hamada by Justice Beguri. All the tribunals from 1976 to 1979, and from 1979 to 1983. We've had leaders, maybe they profess Operation Feed the Nation. Níjọba tún gbédé, wọ́n sọ fún wa nípa iṣẹ́ ọ̀gbìn kébi má pa wá. What has become the outcome of Operation Feed the Nation. It's not a sustainable policy. What has become of the green revolution of Shehu Shagari era? Nothing is green. Everything is very dry. Ethical what? It was a Shagari regime that ethical revolution. Ethical waiting, ethical revolution. The man, the simple people, for those of you in the legal profession, the little I learned is that those who come to equity must come with clean hands, because equity does not protect rights that are not in existence. So those people preaching ethical revolution, do they have ethical conduct? We've looked at the history of Nigeria from 1983 even to 1996. We have recovered Abacha loot, at least substantial part of Abacha loot. What are we doing? Who will recover all the loot of other leaders who have been privileged? In his lifetime, I had close association with Sani Abacha when he was chief of army staff. And he was a core soldier, a man of very few words. I never knew he had the capacity to loot the treachery of a nation to that particular extent. But the other president, are they different? Why have we not been able to beam searchlights on them? The problem lies not with us. It lies, the problem and solution lie with the judiciary. The nature of political interference in judicial process, in our court system, is inimical to national growth and national development. And I will cite only 3 cases. You know, I'm a carpenter. In 1979, election was conducted over the five-party structure. And the matter was dragged to the Supreme Court. 8 justices of the Supreme Court delivered that judgment under Justice Fatai Williams. I know other justices, some that are still alive. So I'll spare them. The name of that chief judge was Fatai Williams. And I had closer association with some close associate. I knew why Justice Fatai Williams did what he did at that time. But I'm a historian. We are economical with whatever we say. But one judge that I consider a role model for the legal profession and for MULAN was Justice Kayode Esho. He delivered minority judgment. And he said it categorically that 12/2 of 23 at that time, of 19, could not be 1/3, could not be 12/2. That you cannot divide a man into 2, and that 13. That judgment can never be cited as a judicial precedent. Can never. It is, that blot is on judiciary. The second example that I will give is June 12th, when courts, high courts, were just contradicting themselves on the legality of illegality of that election. And some judges worked in tandem with the military dictatorship at the time. And they annulled new political, they didn't say council, annulled Nigerians have ways of inventing new legal lexicon. So annulment became part of our vocabulary. The third case that we cite relates to the activities, again, of Justice Salami. When a Chief Justice of the Federation invited a judge of the Court of Appeal to his private office to deliver a different judgment for the election in, is it Kaduna State at that time. You see, when political interference is taking place, it destroys judiciary. The judiciary is the hope of the hopeless. It is the only solution to protection of fundamental human rights. It is the nation. When politicians steal, when professors steal, when academics steal, religious leaders steal, any form of stealing, any form of official corruption, it is for the judiciary to stand that yes, you stole. And this is the judgment. We've seen in recent times that even the judges are complaining that judiciary is thinking. At least I can cite a number of legal practitioners, SAN, and judges that have accused each other. Physician, heal thyself. Physician, heal thyself. If the legal profession can get its act right, all the numerous laws that we are making, ICPC, EFCC, all those regulations, if we get the policing right, all those laws, those people are heading ICPC today. Are they not, EFCC, are they not from the police? What they just did was to give them a different training. ICPC refused to recruit policemen. It trained its own staff right there. So in terms of performance, we know what the difference may be at any point in time. The use of ex parte motion to stall court process has to stop. The legal profession has code of conduct. It has ethics. Let the Nigerian Bar Association, the judiciary as a whole, whether at the lower court, we all know those people who live beyond their means. We all know those people who chose to defy the objective selection criteria. The criteria for the appointment of judges, the appointment of senior advocates of Nigeria, the appointment of vice chancellors in our university, they have been abused. ASU is in court over the advertisement for University of Abuja, because all of a sudden, because in the absence of council, University of Abuja removed the 10-year and put it 5 years and used the CV of a particular individual to draft the advertisement. In the same way, Modibo Ali University, they are also in court over. And when you read the visitation panel report of universities, you find that, yes, the universities also stink. Some people today, they've turned, I seek your protection in this area, that the appointment of SAN today, with due respect to people who merit this eminently, it's becoming father to son. And what they need to do, the father who has become a son and he has a credibility, will refuse to go to the court and will make his son to go and appear in the Supreme Court. And if he's able to make about 10 appearances in the court and he can win, well, the criteria will favor such a son. I've listed a number of families. I will give a revised edition of this lecture, not the way it is in the raw form, to the leadership of MULAN, maybe about 2-3 weeks later. I've done it. The business of MULAN and legal profession, let's have an official history of corrupt legal practitioner in Nigeria. The documents are there. All we need to do, all the judges that have been dismissed, all the lawyers that we have had challenges with, the list is there. So just compile it and put with the authority of MBA. So when you want to give a legal case to somebody, you will know that you should not go to this. If you circulate that in international airlines as pocket document, you see, name them and shame them. Physician, heal thyself. In summary, the following recommendations before the MCA comes over are made. First, let's take a look at the life of Gani Fawehinmi. He was an incorruptible man, a man of conscience, a slave driver, but a man of hard rock integrity. He was a pioneer of law, Nigeria weekly law publication at Louis Street before the Sasepon and Co. came in. But remains the longest periodical at the time. Very important. Take a look at the life of Akaba Shorun, who was MBA president in the draconian age of the military. The military could not buy him. God give us men like Gani Fawehinmi, like Akaba Shorun, men that cannot be bought with money, men of conscience who will stay the course at any point in time. Akaba Shorun was there, not just for the legal profession. The People's Chamber in Ebute Metta was a training ground for Femi Falana, Wuni Koko, and the rest of them. It was law in the service of the people. And he played critical role in the formation of CD, Campaign for Democracy, CDHR, and all other organizations of that period. He died young. But he lives because his daughter is Morayo Afolabi Brand. There are men that we can model our lives after as lawyers. And conclusively, just take a look of the life of General Gamal Abdel Nasser of Egypt. Those people, the young Turks, who led the Nazarite Revolution, who overthrew the Asian regime of King Farouk. By the time he died, at the time of his death, there were two major accounts. One had about less than 6,000 Egyptian pounds. The other account had several millions of Egyptian pounds. I said, this account is the people's account, the gift that I collected from people. This gift, these monies are not mine. They belong to the state of Egypt. Daddy, can you scroll that side? And on his tomb, That was an inscription. Have you done that? That was an inscription about humility, about humbleness, about a life of selfless service. It's still there. It's a paraphrased Quranic passage. Justice Okuta Chukwudifua, the father of Charlie Boy, also set the standard, the minimum standard that men of the legal profession should possess. If you live the life of Chukwudifu Okuta, he was the Socrates of the Supreme Court, well respected, a banner without stain. He lived a rich and purposeful life. So, we may not all be Okutas. We may not be like Kayode Esho. We may not be like Gani Fawemi, because those are avatars. They lived and they changed the course of history. Let us remain Muslims. And I will refer us to the period of the Rashidun Caliphs and see how the first Islamic state was governed. After the death of the Holy Prophet of Islam, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was controversy over who his successor would be. Because he was a prophet, Nabi, a messenger, Rasul. And the Quran was quite emphatic. This day, I have perfected your religion for you. I have completed my favor on you. And I've chosen Al-Islam as your religion. And Muhammad is the seal of all prophets, Al-Masih. Then the question was, what was going to be the name of the successor of the Holy Prophet? The Muhajirun, the Ansar, all of them insisted that the leadership of Islam, the Quraysh, the family of the Holy Prophet, also insisted that eventually it was agreed that the leadership must come from the Sahaba, the companions of the Prophet. The election that we are holding today, are they up to the standard of the Quraysh, of the Rashidun Caliphate, the rightly guided caliphs, which ended in 661? It was democratic election, through democratic process, that Abu Bakr, the first Caliph to Rasulullah, he marched at the Saqifa assembly. The second, Umar, election, Uthman ibn Affan, Ali ibn Abu Talib, who was a cousin of the Holy Prophet, wanted. He was the last and the husband of Fatima. So, what is happening even in Saudi Arabia, where monarchical institutions have been instituted, itself is un-Islamic, because the standard of Islam have been set during the Rashidun period. Are we following the democratic principles? Are we not the same set of lawyers who are aware that this is a fraudulent case? And we now begin to approach court A, court B, court C, and all the rest of it. And that justice system is delayed. You have cases lasting 13 years, 15 years. You have election petition tribunals becoming the most prominent, and people are smiling to the banks. The result of our elections, are they the outcome of the aspirations of the people, or it is the court that we are encouraging to determine the real winner? The blame belongs to the lawyers, to people in the legal profession. Patrick Wilmot, the Jamaican professor of political science at ABU, once said, when you see the mirror, what you see is the representation of yourself. Breaking the mirror or smashing it on the wall will not change your identity. I have only singled out what I consider the major problem with Nigeria. Maybe good governance and corruption. If judiciary is united, if it wants to call spade a spade, it will ensure that the selection of judges follows the recruitment process is strictly followed. That at no point in time we will allow X, B, C, D to do it. As a younger university professor at Lagos State University, I wanted to contest for the deanship of my faculty. And a professor just walked to me, Siyan, you are too young. You should not be contesting for this particular post. Allow another person to contest. And I told the man, straight into his eyes, that because you said it, I should not contest. I will contest because we are not practicing Olubadan system. It is in Ibadan that the age determines who becomes the Olubadan, because you must start from the lowest rung of the ladder. Okay, 2 minutes. Thank you. The moderator has rounded everything up. Be a good historian. Be a good historian. The discipline of law is very, very robust. It's rooted in literature, rooted in history, and logic and philosophy. The little I can stand before you today is that I read law books regularly. And I want to tell my brother, I aspired to be a lawyer a few years ago. And I applied to Obafemi Awolowo University, where I graduated in 1982. But unfortunately, the law program of Obafemi Awolowo University was disaccredited. Because law is an instrument. It's a weapon against oppression. I write my brief myself, and I give it to my lawyer. Please recraft. Kazim, Esquire, are you here? Kazim, when I had a challenge, a very good man. You will rise to the apex of your profession. May all your tomorrow be better than your today. You see, because of my association with lawyers, Mike Ozekome, all of them were together at Ife. Those years, Adeola, Razak, all of us, Anthony Idigbe. So, I was the historian, only historian in their midst. Ibukun Olubabajide Alao, and all the rest of them. But they didn't know they were rubbing on me. They impacted positively. Malam Yusuf, Olalu Ali, and I lived on the same bed in our undergraduate years. That's 1978, to be precise. So, and I see him as a mentor because there is that disparity in our age. Great lawyer. He's still excelling in the legal profession today. I thank the leadership of MULAN for the opportunity to be here this afternoon. I became a Muslim, not through a Nigerian. I became a Muslim through a South African Muslim, Hamid Didat, the author of Islam in Focus. So I read all the books in the Muslim Students Society Library at Ife. I was a Liberian. The religious acrimony of today was non-existent in our day. My office was next to the Catholic Secretariat. And it was a beautiful community. The problem of religion, Father Kuka, a lot of them, they have written about religion. Religion is something personal. The people who politicize religion and do all sorts of things in religion, Fela has the right answer for them. I say, Imam, the Baladun, Archbishop, now enjoyment. On that note, I raise my case.
Takbir. That was a brilliant presentation from our guest speaker, Professor Oyeweso. Thanks a lot for coming around. Yoruba people say, "Bomode o ba batan, ó ní láti bá àrọ́bá, àrọ́bá ni bá bàtàn." That loosely translates to when kids don't have good mastery of history, they naturally will get to hear transmitted oral traditions. And that may be more important than history that is written in itself. So what we've got today is a combination of history and Aroba from the esteemed historian. Thanks once again for the beautiful presentation. While the guest lecture was being delivered, we had the honor of certain distinguished individuals walking into this venue. I have the singular honor of recognizing my Lord Justice W.O. Akanbi, former President, Customary Court of Appeal, Osun State. If you see him dressed today, he doesn't look like the way he looked yesterday. So maybe you should stand up for recognition in your youthful appearance. Takbir. Next to him is another distinguished Nigerian who has refused to age. Yesterday, there was a subtle dispute going on. It wasn't well publicized, but I was privy to know that there is a difference between Bayo and Adebayo. So this person I'm going to recognize is not Bayo because he emphatically stated yesterday that he is Adebayo. I have the honor of recognizing a former Honorable Minister of Communication of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Alhaji Adebayo Shitu. Takbir. I would like to recognize also the distinguished presence of Mr. Adekola Mustafa, SAN, former President, MULAN. Takbir. I'd like to recognize the presence of a former Deputy Governor of Oyo State, who is coincidentally a lawyer now, Alhaj Azim Bolarumi. Takbir. In Yoruba land, they will say, Baba Bori Akoni Afida Lale Garaga. I don't know how to say that in English. Maybe the best attempt will be when iconic individuals are recognized, we recognize their presence with a loud ovation. In line with that premise, I would also like to recognize the presence of a former Attorney General of Bauchi State, that state where I served in 1997, and pioneer president of MULAN in person of Alhaj Ibrahim Umar. Yeah, thanks a lot for coming around. And all the way from Bayo University, Kano, we have the distinguished presence of Professor Usman Muhammad Shuaib, the Director of International Institute of Islamic Banking and Finance. Could you please stand up for recognition? Yeah. Thanks for coming around. Atakbir. I have another distinguished personality here, Mr. Isiaka Olagunju SAN, Chairman OISEC. I don't know what that fully translates to. Please pardon me. Okay, thanks a lot for coming around, sir. Oyo State Independent Electoral Commission. Thanks a lot. Former National Secretary of NBA is wearing so many, caps here today. Thanks a lot. You are all duly recognized, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go down to the next element on the agenda, questions session. Yeah.
We may not be able to take 6.
6? Okay.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are far behind Sedo, so we may not be able to take so many questions. And we still have to make arrangement for our dinner. Our dinner is tonight. The chairman is already in town, so we need to move fast. I think we should just take 6 questions. 3 to the males, 3 to the females. So over to the MC.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. Maximum of 6 questions. It doesn't mean we must ask 6. So if we don't have up to 6, we're fine. Female, male questions. I have one hand, number 1. There are some hands up. Are they for the questions or you are just waving at me? Okay, number 2, number 3. That's exhausted until there is an extra provision from this side. Questions from our sisters? None. So I can bring 3 of them. Okay, fine. We keep it at 3. The first person should please come forward. You are at the back. Please hurry up.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Idris Alao from Ilorin branch. I appreciate the presentation of the guest speaker so well, but I have few remarks to make about the theme itself, so it's not a question. When we talk about development from an Islamic perspective, there are 2 verses of the Holy Quran that are very important in development discourse. Whether it is reformation, whether it is revival, whether it is reform, they are all components of development. And these 2 verses are very striking because they illustrate to us 2 different contexts. The first verse is saying that ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُ لَمْ يَكُنْ مُغَيِّرًا نِعْمَةً أَنْعَمَهَا عَلَى قَوْمٍ أَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah will not change the condition of a people, the very good condition that a set of people are upon, except they change their attitude. This context is good for a society where things are going very well. Justice prevails. There is equity, there is freedom, and there is good standard of living. So if people continue doing what they were doing or what they are doing to earn that status, Allah will not change their condition from good to bad. But there's another verse again communicating almost the same message but in a different context. Allah says, Inna Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin Atta yoga YERIMA bianfusim. Allah will not change the condition of a people. In this context, those who are on a bad condition, justice is not prevailing, like the situation we have in Nigeria. Allah will not change that condition atta yoga YERIMA bianfusim until people who are in that society themselves change from bad to good. And that's why anytime I come across discussion on development, Nigeria way forward, I keep telling myself that we are not ready. And the simple reason is Allah has his sunnah, the way he does his things. If we cannot have personal and collective rectitude in our approach to development, we are going nowhere. And if what I'm saying is right or not, I'm happy that our guest lecturer today has spoken so well. He took us through the memory lane. And we can see many of those things that have happened since then till now. So going forward, we should look for ways through which we can emphasize personal and collective rectitude as an approach to achieving development, whether at the family level or even at the subnational or national level. That's the way out that Islam has prescribed, and we will pray Allah make it easy for us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yesterday, Professor Laulu Ali told us the easiest way to have your street clean is if you clean your own, front, and every other person cleans the front of their house, then you can be rest assured the street is going to be clean. I gave 3 numbers out, so that's number 2, and then the 3rd one is coming from here. Hurry up, please.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All protocols duly observed. Muhammad Miftahu Bello is my name from MULAN Kano branch. First of all, I would like to appreciate the speaker. The topic is well educative, and the point I would like to make is that in course of the presentation, the speaker took us through the lifestyle of the Khulafa, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, Umar, Uthman, and Ali radiallahu anhu. And that the mode of the appointment was democratic in nature. They came through a democracy process. Now, the point is this. The democracy is unknown to Islam. But politics, from the very manner, because politics revolves around power and allocation of resources, it is part and parcel of Islam. And that is why Al-Fazazi in his Ishiriniya has this to say, while referring to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, wasasa bidhaka al-khalqa linan wa shiddatan. From the word sasa yasusu siyasatan. They may look alike, but the processes are not the same. Therefore, the only point I'm trying to make is that they came through a process which looks similar to that of democracy, but where democracy is alien to Islam, but politics is part and parcel of Islam. I deem it necessary to make this point because this is a training ground. We have the younger ones coming, and we have the aged ones, so that by the time we go to our various destinations, it will not be part of the references some people may be making to trying to make a point. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. I don't want to comment on that, even though I have my opinion. Who did I give the number to between the two of you? Okay. Don't worry, there is a provision for one of the 3 from that side, so we'll give it to you. And that will be the final one.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Dr. Muhammad Tukur Jibril from the Faculty of Law, ABU Zaria. While listening to the wonderful speech by the learned professor, you realize that in Nigeria, we are not always honest and truthful with ourselves. At times, we have this democracy that we borrowed from, whether the parliamentary that fell from 1960 to 1966, or the American system that was championed by people like Bernard and Co. from 1979 that was reintroduced in 1999. Those 2 systems has actually failed to move Nigeria forward. That's why in perpetuity, from the history given, every time there's one problem or the other, all the leaders under this system, they were found to be wanting. So as a people, as a people with history, we'll go back to our own history as human beings. From the cradle of human race, Africa itself, from where people dispersed to the various places. We look at our own system, whether from the Oyo Empire or from the Sokoto Caliphate, that was able to unite vast and diverse people under one system where there is justice, there is equity. So when we come to this kind of gathering, always we look at our own history as people. Because when God created human being, we in Africa, in Nigeria, He endowed us with the same intellect, with the same ways of organizing our own society. And if we continue in this light, I'm telling you, as is it, everybody knows Nigeria has failed. The democracy itself has failed. And unless we have everything, we will continue to run in a failed system. Thank you, sir.
And then the imported opportunity given to men.
Assalamu alaikum. Distinguished colleagues, again, a very brilliant lecture today, and I must commend MULAN for the curating of the topics for conversation. I was very worried by the conclusion that our lecturer arrived at. First, the progression was to show us that we are totally lost as far as leadership was concerned. So the iconic figures that were mentioned were people, some of them jurists, some were lawyers, but none of our leaders appeared to be a role model for us. And then, of course, you talked about Chinua Achebe talking about the problem of Nigeria being a problem of leadership. Then you conclude by saying that the twin problems of Nigeria are the absence of good governance and corruption. Now, the big question for the eminent and distinguished people in this room is there anything as legal professionals that we can do to reset the clock of leadership in Nigeria? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's time for response.
I'm not a very deep person in terms of recitation of the Holy Scripture. But I can say with some measure of confidence that I will not commit heresy. Islam is derived from the Arabic root, Silimun, which means peace, purity, obedience. The earliest faith, religion for mankind, and the only one acceptable before Allah is Islam. That's what my teachers told me. But I also educated myself further that the only ideal state of Islam existed in the life of the Holy Prophet and the Rashidun Caliphate, which ended in 1661. The Holy Prophet was an imam. He was Amir. He was a family man. He was a leader. He was commander of the faithful. He was a messenger, Rasul, and a prophet, Nabi. He combined all together in his person. So that was crisis. How would the next leader be appointed? Ali ibn Abu Talib, Sayyid Ali ibn Abu Talib, insisted that the leadership of Islam must be in the family of the Holy Prophet, because there was what was called isma in the blood of the Holy Prophet. The Muslim community rejected the claim of the family of the Holy Prophet. And the Holy Prophet was quite clear. I'm a human being like you. He did not live the life of somebody that just emerged from anywhere, disappeared and came back. He was a man you could see his life from the beginning till the end of his life. He had people who were very, very close to him. There was no imposition of Abu Bakr on the people. They listed criteria how should a Muslim leader emerge. He must have Iman. He must be a man of knowledge. He must be married. He must be learned. Above all, he must also have work. He must not be an idle person. And part of the condition, Abu Bakr was a rope maker. He had profession. And all the other contestants appeared at the Sakifa assembly. And I will refer you to Philip Iti, History of the Arabs. You find the early life of the Holy Prophet there. The election, they counted votes, and Abu Bakr emerged as the first caliph. And what does caliph mean? Khalifatul Rasulullah, successor to the messenger of Allah. That was the only title. He could not combine the other titles of the Holy Prophet. And that caliphate, it was from Khalifatul Rasulullah that it was changed to Caliph. Caliph Abu Bakr, Caliph Umar, Uthman ibn Affan became the third caliph, all through democratic process, including the most ambitious among them, Ali ibn Abu Talib. So the golden era of Islam ended. It was succeeded by the Umayyad dynasty that established their state in Spain, Cordova. Later on, the Abbasid came. And you have the Fatimids, who later ruled from the line of the daughter of the Holy Prophet. But the nearest approximation to a state of Islam, a practical state of Islam, was the Rashidun Caliph, which in English means the period of the rightly guided caliphs. If you say there was no Islam, how did they? Islam is life, is the totality of life, is a way of life. For people who understand Islam, you take the Quran, you take the Sunnah, and when you take the Sunnah, you look at Ijma, you look at Qiyas, and when you belong to the schools, the four dominant schools, whether you are Maliki, you are Hanafi, you are Shafi, or you are Hanbali, these are established schools in Islam. So, the duty of the judge, well defined. How leaders should emerge. People emerge as leaders today from nowhere. You just see them printing posters. They don't have any pedigree, because whether you vote for them or not, they will emerge eventually as leader. How can nameless, faceless people that we don't even know their parents, they do not have any occupation, just emerge as local government chairman, or emerge as a member of our assembly, or as a House of Rep or Senate? It's a different game. Nigeria needs to rediscover itself. And my conclusion is that if we get the judiciary right, whether you are in the MBA, whether you are a Muslim lawyer, whether you are a young weak, old weak, and there is a consensus against corruption. Whatever is corrupt, and we know it. It has no name, other name. In the past, it was difficult to steal in the traditional Yoruba society as case study. Because eroju ole emu omoni ogbagbafo òun kaṣọ wọ̀lú ẹni jalè lẹ́ẹ̀kan bó bá dàrán borí aṣọ olè ló dàbora. We had values. But we will say we are patriots. I'm a Yoruba man. I'm proud to be a Yoruba man. But I don't want to be part of Yoruba nation, which is bedeviled by many contradictions. Until you resolve the contradictions of the Nigerian state, you cannot say belong to Yoruba nation or Biafra nation. Biafra died with Ojukwu. Anybody who is advocating secession today has not seen the horrors of war. I am a student of war. I studied war. I worked very closely with Dikedorama Ojukwu. And we know that no nation fights 2 civil wars and survive. All the advocates of wars today, they are young men and they are on social media. If they knew that there are so many people without fathers, without mothers, and they live life of nobody will advocate. No nation fights 2 civil wars and survive. All those people who are in the process of japa, or they have jackpad, my senior colleagues who have japa, know there is what is called split identity. You are a second-class citizen anywhere. Nigerians do well when they do go for international peacekeeping, when they go for military operations. They obey rules and regulations when they are in UK, when they are in US. Why can't you obey the same regulations in Nigeria? We are weak in enforcement. That's what we are saying. If A steals and you know he stole, the punishment is there. Today, the court system is advocating alternative dispute mechanism or resolution. It's good because the precious time of the court will not be wasted. They will have time to attend to other issues, not election petition alone. And land matters, civil matters, which requires urgent attention. The appointment of Mr. Hay is about to be terminated. And the judge could not sit over that case because it is not considered very expedient. Nobody has isolated 2 problems for Nigeria. I said lack of good governance. Why do we have lack of good governance? Simply a matter of corruption. Somebody don't take which belong to another person. I questioned the word annulment. I questioned the word bandit. For me, as a Nigerian, there is nothing like bandit. He's a criminal, simple criminal, under the penal code. Deal with him. But we are now negotiating with criminals. We are paying criminals. We are paying ransom. How can you say Nigeria of a lifetime? 276 Boko Haram young girls were kidnapped in 2014. Until today, we cannot account for 90 of them. Is that good governance? Take a look at the number of faculty of agriculture in Nigerian university. If you visit Samaru, ABU Zaria, and look at their dam, the dam in that university can feed the people of Kaduna. I had been there. several times. Samaru took agriculture as the pride. Is still the same today? Or we are all civil servants? If you want Nigeria to be great, let us return to farming and manufacturing. People blame the current government. It is a product of a process we started long ago. Where are the farm settlements in the southwest today? They have been converted to palatial residences and buildings. Nobody is farming. The federal government should not be talking to Nigerians that, okay, you should go and farm. Farming should be at the local government level, at the state level, because the land exists at the local government. Are the local government functional today? No. So if you want a revisit, go back to the 2014 Constitutional Conference and see the work they have done. Don't throw everything away. I'm an advocate of parliamentary system. And I will still say because it is cost effective. In the whole Western region, the Western region government of Obafemi Awolowo loaned money to the federal government. It has its own mission office in UK, built with the people's money. It had Cocoa House, established a regional university, the first television station in Africa. So we had glorious past. Why can't we go back to what was workable for us? A governor just told us that is a farmer governor. I have special time for him on NTA network. When you want to see what is happening in Nigeria, don't just be watching Bicos or watching TVC. Look at the news globally and see what is happening. For people in the Southwest, we need to redefine our agenda. We need to return to farming. And when people talk about Fulani men, Fulani herdsmen, do you know the Fulani herdsmen? They are not the Fulani by color or complexity. We, the people in the Southwest, we are also Fulani. We are the people who keep our top men, big men, keep Malu with them. Our generals, our rich people. So, because of the problem of climate change, water must find its level. So, if we discuss a modern ranching system, it is not that old Fulani stereotype. We should not be stereotyping each other. The bond in Nigeria today is so strong that it's very difficult. The Yoruba people will continue to exist within the context of one united nation because of history. If you try it, the East is just right there to give you punishment of what happened in the past because they believed the Yoruba people betrayed them. We did not betray them. Awolowo said, if the East is allowed by any act of omission or commission to opt out of Nigeria, the West will also consider it. Yoruba people were very lucky that Ojukwu invasion of Ore was arrested. People don't know what is Oleku Ijaore. They had virtually crossed the Ofusu River at that time. They had almost invaded Lagos. So, if you want to know, please study history. If you cannot study history, read good books. The Holy Prophet of Islam, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in his lifetime said, seek knowledge, be it in China, because China was then the farthest location to the Holy Prophet.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. We're going to the next preface on today's agenda. Okay, fine. I'd like to invite to this side of the auditorium my Lord Honorable Justice Binta Zubair of Court of Appeal, Ibadan, to present the award to the chairman of today's occasion, ably represented by Ajia Miriam Lemu.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hajjas, I probably call you Mu'allima. It's my singular honor and pleasure to present this award to you from MULAN in appreciation of our distinguished role as session chairperson. Congratulations.
On behalf of His Excellency, the former Governor of Niger State, Honorable Mohammed Umar Bago, I want to thank you for this award, and may Allah continue to bless MULAN, elevate you, protect you, and I pray that the last speaker's presentation is going to inspire all of us to convert a lot of talk into action. Bless all of you and take you back home safely. Jazakumullahu khairan, and thank you for this award on behalf of Niger State.
Yes, that's it. Thank you very much. The next award to be presented is going to be to the theme speaker. So I would like Professor Oyeweso to please come to the east side of the auditorium. And to do the presentation of award, I would like to invite on the pioneer national president of MULAN and a former attorney general of Bauchi State, Alhaji Ibrahim Umar, to please do us the honor of the award presentation to Professor Siyan Oyeweso.
Professor. On behalf of the Muslim Lawyers Association of Nigeria, it is my singular honor and privilege to present this award in appreciation of his distinguished role as an erudite speaker to one and only Professor Siyan Oyeweso, PhD, in recognition of his esteemed contributions towards the success of the 2024 Ibadan Annual General Conference of Muslim Lawyers Association of Nigeria, dated 2nd to 5th May 2024. So I present. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, sir.
All right. A quick response.
I want to specially dedicate this to the 12-man cabinet of the current executive, led by Kazim. Kazim is my brother, and Musbao Adetumbi's son is also my brother. He knows what we are talking about in Nigeria because he was once kidnapped. It's the saving grace. So when people talk about Nigeria, he knows around Awaraja in Osun State, where we thank God for his life.
Thank you very much, sirs. We're going to... What's this? I did it. Unless you want, it's right there. Unless you want me to do another one. Right. Chairman's closing remark. I'm coming to you. You don't need to come upstairs again.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu once again. As we come to the close of this beautiful occasion, I want to thank the keynote speaker, Professor Siyan, for a very beautiful presentation, very rich. Today I met an encyclopedia of knowledge and a scholar of Nigerian history. It's truly an honor. Our guest speaker started by talking about agriculture as the lifeline and the bloodline of a nation. But he then took us down memory lane and enlightened us about our history and about the importance of succession. He shared his concern about the low representation of Muslims, especially in the legal field, especially those who have opportunities to climb up the ladder. He challenged MULAN to find ways to train as far down the ladder as secondary school students and groom them to positions of leadership and hopefully positions of authority in our great nation. He shared his concerns over the corruption in Nigeria and how the constitution has been filled and riddled with loopholes for bandits and criminals to perpetrate various acts of fraud. He said if we can strengthen our judiciary and also check ourselves, own our own truth, and be sincere and honest with ourselves, do some soul searching and stop being selfish. And most importantly, he said we must just go back to remaining as true Muslims. We learned from history, he said, and we need to learn from history. The history of Nigeria is a history of corruption. Tragically, we have even celebrated corrupt individuals and criminals. He cited an example that even streets have been named after these dirty hands. He referred to the dirty hands from the top to the bottom of the judiciary system with hardly any exceptions. And that if all the systems set up could checkmate corruption, systems such as the ICPC, EFCC, and so on, but even their hands are not clean. He challenged MULAN to call out corrupt miscreants. He said, name them and shame them. He said, look at Gani Fayomi, and he used him as a model, together with a few others, that these were incorruptible, fearless men of conscience. He said they practiced law in the service of a people. He said we have to call a spade and look in the mirror. He said even if we break a mirror, it does not change our identity. And again, he spoke to our conscience that we should remember we need to remain as Muslims. He said the law is a weapon and an instrument to stop oppression, and we must groom leaders. We must get the judiciary right and uphold democracy and fight corruptions and set up systems. And my father always said, set up systems so tight that even if the devil worked for you, he can't do anything wrong. He said we need to hold people accountable. So Professor Siyan, I must say, you rested your case well. May Allah bless you. Thank you to everyone that has participated in this event. To our able, very, very able MC, you look very dashing today, very different from yesterday. You have carried your position very well. May Allah bless all the organizers, MULAN, and continue to uphold you. And may this gathering be a witness for us in the life to come, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khairan.
Thank you very much. We are going to have a suspension dua now to be given by a lawyer who looks like an investment banker, a former president of MULAN. But you can pray.
We thank Almighty Allah for the wonderful outing we have had. We thank Him for the grace He has bestowed upon all of us. And as we continue further in the program ahead, we pray Almighty Allah to continue to be with us. Those who will be leaving, we pray Almighty Allah to take them to their destination safely. And we also pray God Almighty to spare our life to witness many more of these events. Rabbana salamun anfusana wa himla taghfir lana wa tarhamna lana kunna min al-khasirin. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adhaban. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Thank you very much. This session is officially brought to an end. We can take...
The session is officially closed. Kindly note that we are adjourning for Sur and lunch. And we'll give announcement where, how, and